Senator Daly. Now our next speaker is Senator O'Donnell. You have 6 minutes. Go ahead.
Gromwaigit alas Carly agus Shade of Vaha Haggett or Dewsborough Tammy Coast Sasta go in Shalogam Lorch our son and Rakdiak Tawaktak Shaw and Rakdiak and Bakvala Uhishak Eranak. Minister, you're very welcome for today's debate on this important legislation, and I'm very proud and privileged, along with my colleague Senator Boylan, to be able to support it today. And like others, I'm very keen to see it progress through these houses speedily, efficiently, and most importantly, effectively in terms of outcomes. It's amazing what this issue can kind of galvanise amongst people. I put a tweet up, and our guests are very welcome to the gallery. I put a tweet up having met with some of them out the front, and immediately, usually we know what a load of pinging means on Twitter. It's not always good, but it was instantly very good, very warm, very supportive. People speaking about their own experiences, supporting projects to protect our Indigenous bees. I was invited up to see a mural including the native Irish honeybees at Ardoyne Kickham's GAC. It's in the grounds of Bonscovaghrachtan. And I actually texted my colleague Francie Malloy, who's the MP for Mid-Ulster. Francie's a long-term beekeeper, which maybe not a lot of people know. And very succinctly, because a lot like other speakers, by no means am I an expert in this field at all, and I had to explain that over and over again to the people I enjoyed speaking to out the front. But I texted Francie earlier and said, give me an idiot's guide to this, because that's what's required. And he texted back saying, Niall, native Irish bees are a lot calmer, easy to work with. Protection is important, as bees being imported bring the risk of infection, which can wipe out the colony. Local honey, good for your health. So that nearly does conclude my contribution. But now on to my notes. And so speaketh the member for Mid-Ulster, I should add, Francie Malloy. But, Minister, as you know, the scientific argument for this bill is impressive, but I'm not a scientist or an ecologist, so I've left that to other colleagues to address in terms of the scientific merits. All I will say from my layperson's perspective, the threat of hybridisation to the native Irish honeybee warrants this legislative protection, and that's why the bill, Senator Martin, is so welcome. Instead, I would like to look at some of the legal questions around the bill. The bill has incredible support, as other colleagues have said, from 90% of beekeepers across Ireland. There were some concerns raised about how it would impinge on the freedom of trade within the EU. But at a briefing this morning, Cleena Kimber, Senior Counsel, argued how not only is it possible to ban the import of non-native honeybees, but it is a requirement for us to act. We can point to many EU treaties that allow us to have exemptions to free trade, but I'll mention just one. Regulation 1143/2014 on the prevention and management of the introduction and spread of invasive alien species. It states, invasive alien species represents one of the main threats to biodiversity, especially in geographically and evolutionarily isolated ecosystems, such as islands. Ireland, as an island, is a single ecological unit. The free trade in bees from abroad is a threat to the native population, so we can avail of exemptions to free trade for islands. It underscores the point that if we're going to address the biodiversity crisis, very often it needs to be done on an all-Ireland basis. One of the other legal questions raised is, if we ban the importation of bees down here, could they still be imported through the north? Donnacha Wolfe of Cohill addressed this point. In Britain, there is a ban on the importation of broods. The north is exempt from this British ban under the protocol because of the need to align EU law and this jurisdiction, which has no ban. But if we were to bring in this ban in the south, the reason for exemption would go away. So there is no fear of broods coming in the back door. However, non-native queens could still be imported under British law if it was applied in the north. That's why, as I understand, the Assembly could work to introduce a similar ban in the north as we are debating here today. I'll be raising this with my colleagues in the north so that they can advance this solution when, hopefully sooner rather than later, the executive is up and running, and I know colleagues in the Green Party no doubt will do likewise. I'd like to conclude by paying tribute to Senator Vincent P. Martin for all of his work in drafting the bill in collaboration with COHIL, the Climate Bar Association. He found an issue, Minister, that has not only very widespread support among beekeepers across Ireland, but crucially among Seanad from across the Seanad. So I hope, Minister, you, not least as a proud and respected member of this House, will keep that in mind as we progress this legislation. And I hope, in commending Senator Martin and wishing him well today, I hope we get to see this back speedily.
Thank you, Senator Dunila. Now, before I bring in our whip, Sean Kine, Senator Kine, I'd just like to welcome to the public gallery former Senator Sean Barrett and his guest Laszlo Molnárfi from Hungary, who are both joining us today and observing our proceedings, along with